From WDWL TV Multiplex Studio 5A, we proudly present the pride of the station, the Two Grumpies, starring the grumpy old man. Oh, that would be me. And, the grumpy vulture. Take your bow. Oh, nice and graceful, nice and graceful. Oh, you took a bath. No, God. Now you smell like coconut and mango. Oh, Jesus. Go back in your corner. Oh, gee. Coconut and mango. The camera will see you there. Turn your head. Look there. Okay. Well, friends, it's getting closer to the Two Grumpies New Year's Eve extravaganza. Yes, it's getting closer. We still don't know what the hell we're going to do, but we're getting closer. I did a quick test with the monitor. Everything will go perfect if they live cast it on YouTube from Times Square. Otherwise, Grumpy screwed. I don't see why they wouldn't. Everybody's going to be carrying it, jeez. Of course, be my luck, YouTube. This would be the only place somebody wouldn't carry it is on YouTube when I'm expecting it. And I was doing a little digging today. I found one of the microphone flags that was gifted to us a couple years ago. I was using them on a regular basis, and I don't know how they ended up in the storeroom in a drawer, but yeah, look at that. The station went all out when they bought these. Of course, look, you think they'd put my face on a microphone flag? No. Look whose ugly mug they stick on it. But it's nice. It's a three-sided. Look at that. See, three sides of the stinking vulture. And I got an email from Burbank, and he told me he's sending me something besides a microphone. And I says, you don't test anything else but microphones. What are you sending me? Well, one of the microphones that was sent to him came with a custom arm like this that lights up. Oh, yeah. It does the same thing this microphone will do. It'll turn red and green and blue and orange. Somehow they put lights in there. So it's going out in tomorrow's mail, but I don't believe it's going to be here for the New Year's show. Then I got to figure out a way how people are going to see it, because you only see this much of the arm. So I don't know where the lights are, but he said the whole arm lights up and it changes colors. I was like, oh boy. So I will have a matching microphone arm to go with the RGB multicolored Ghost. Or any microphone I use that lights up. I like this Ghost because it lights up here and it also lights up back there. Cool. Now, getting to today's show topic. My day versus today. I'm talking about politeness and consideration for your fellow man. I told you about the Mark store that I go to. They have these. For some reason, I like to smack this microphone all the time. They have these big concrete filled poles in front of the store in order to keep people from taking shopping carts out to the parking lot. Now, I agree, it's a good idea, except the width of these poles, you can get about half of the cart in. People will load their cars, and you think they will move that cart out of the way? No. And a lot of times they jam that son of a bitch in there so it's stuck. Well then, that cart's sitting there. You think someone will move it out of the way? No. They come out of the store and they push their cart up against that cart. So now you got two carts in a row in front of the exit. Then a third person will come out with a cart. Do they move anything? No. So now you have three carts in a row, and you can almost get out the exit door. And they will fill, how many spots are there? 1, 2, 3, there, 4. 4 openings. There will be 16 goddamn shopping carts blocking the entrance and the exit, because when you got all these goddamn carts there, you can't get in, let alone get out. So here's what Grumpy does, and I usually do it when somebody is unloading groceries into their car. I'll pull the cart back and I'll go, and I literally say this. I'll say, goddamn inconsiderate people. And I turn to the person that's emptying the cart and I'll go, watch this, 1001. And I move the cart out of the way. Then I pull the second one. Watch this, 1002. And I'll do that. And I'll say, goddamn ignorant people. What did it take me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds out of my busy day. I said, people are nothing but fucking inconsiderate. Here's the whole thing. Grumpy tries to shame people. Does it work? Fuck no. I'll come out of the store, and the person that was unloading that cart will leave that cart there. You can't shame people today. They don't give a shit. It's a me world, and screw you. Not back when I was growing up. People would hold doors for one another. They would help people load their car with groceries, you know. People would say hello to each other, walk down the street, whether they knew them or not. You know, hi, how are you? Hi. I know my grandfather did it all the time. He said hello to everybody that passed him. And he wore a fedora. When a woman would be passing him, he would tip his hat. Utter politeness, respect. Back in the day, every neighbor knew each other's name on the whole block. And 90% of the time, they knew their phone numbers. Today, people don't know who the hell lives next door to them. And here's what happened when I moved in, okay? Now, I knew the neighbor on the right side of me. Her and I have been friends for eons. The neighbor on the left side of me, when I moved in, I went over and I introduced myself. I say, I'm the grumpy old man. The husband said, I'm so and so, first name only. The wife just said, hi, nice to meet you. To this day, I've been here 4 years. I have no idea what their last name is. To this day, I have no idea what his wife's name is. People today don't give a shit. You know, back growing up, and when I first got married and lived in the neighborhood, all the neighbors help one another out. If you were cutting your lawn, the neighbor across the street would come over and say, hey, you want me to edge it for you? I got an edger, you know. They'd edge the lawn. Another one would come over and sweep up, and you would reciprocate. I remember we had a new neighbor starting to move in. There were like 7 of us that went over, introduced ourselves, and helped them move into their house. Not today. Somebody moves in and they're like, oh, God, there goes the neighborhood. You know, a new neighbor coming in. I don't know what this world's coming to. I really don't. You know, if there would be some sort of occurrence, wouldn't you want help from your neighbors? Wouldn't you want your neighbors to help you out? Nothing like that today. Nothing. I have seen this world change for the worst. I just don't understand people. And the only ones that really notice it are all of us seniors. Because we were raised differently. And I don't understand how from one generation to the next, how things could change so much. It just boggles my frickin' mind. My 2 brain cells just bounce off one another. Let me make a change here. Hold on. Oh, well, look like I got an overdue suntan. That's a little bright. Let me back it down. One more. Let's go up one. There we go. I was in my blue mood for a while. Oh, I forgot I was experimenting with the look, and I forgot the ring light above me. Yeah, I got a circular light right above my head. The lighting engineers put it in. They didn't tell me how to adjust it either. I had to figure it out myself. But yeah, I got a round light. Looks like a halo. Yeah, I wish. Grumpy with a halo. But yeah, it's just a circular light. Well, that doesn't look too bad. I'm making sure my head don't have that. Oh, that one night, I look like a Klingon from Star Trek. Looked like my brain was pushing out of the front of my head. The lighting effect that was bouncing off the top of my bald skull. Actually, brightening the light brings out the vulture even more. Oh, yeah. Look at yeah. He's got his goddamn face on everything around here. And then when they said, the pride of the station. Oh, did that go to his head? He went into the CEO's office and said, I want my own private parking space. The CEO says, you don't fucking drive. Well, everybody else has a parking space. Then I told the asshole, I said, you know where mine is? Way at the back of the goddamn employee parking lot. I don't get one of them fancy reserved spaces that corporate gets out front. And I'm the pride of the station. Oh. Yeah. Only for the evening stream. We're the pride of the station. Getting back to inconsiderate people. Back in the day, if somebody was pulling out of like a driveway to enter the roadway, you would wave them out. Come on, well, And then when the person would pull out, you get like, thank you. Not today. And then if you don't let them out, oh my God, they go berserk, blow their horn, flash their lights. I used to do it all the time. I would like, come on. Not anymore. If you can't give me a little thank you for letting you out, then fuck you. Sometimes I enjoy pulling in front of them, They're getting ready to pull out of the driveway. There'll be a red light. Grumpy pulls right up, and they're flashing their lights, and they're waving, and I turn around and I wave, hey! I know they're not waving at me to say hi. They're waving at me to say, hey, asshole, aren't you going to let me out? No. I'm not courteous like that anymore. What does it take to go, thank you, or a little toot of the horn, beep, beep? People today just expect it. Well, don't expect it from me. If you can't reciprocate, which I know damn well, you wouldn't do it for me. If I was trying to get out of the driveway, you'd do the same thing. You'd pull in front of me and go, fuck you. There's no courtesy whatsoever anymore. None. Like I say, it's turned into a me world, and screw you. And then people wonder why I don't like going out shopping. Because people are assholes. Plain and simple. Even in the stores. It's almost like driving down the street. If you got a cart, someone will deliberately go around you to get in front of you. And then here's something that really pisses me off. They will put their cart right in the middle of the aisle. Then they will walk halfway down the aisle to go get something. Why are you leaving your cart in the middle of the aisle? Either take it down there with you or move it to the side. Let people go. No. Or another thing. They will back up to the middle of the aisle and bend over to read what's on the shelf or read what's on a can or a box. Get your fat ass out of my way. Pick the thing up like I do. Bend over and look on the shelf. Pick it up, read it. This is not what I want. And put it back down. Bend over, stick your fat ass in the aisle, block the aisle so nobody can get by. Ignorant goddamn people today. Oh, jeez. And I'm not the only one that experiences this. But I'm the only one that speaks up about it. there was something. Yeah, I saw this on a sign one day. And I've been trying to find the same identical sign. It said, I'm not rude. I just have the balls to say what everyone else is thinking. That's grumpy. Yeah, I'm not rude. But I know what I'm saying to someone. The person standing next to me wishes they had the balls to do the same thing. I can see it. I can see the wheels turning. After I say my piece, I'll look at somebody and I'll see the wheels turning and that look on their face like, oh, I wish I had the balls to say that. Almost as good as what my grandmother used to say. You know, I would bitch about somebody. I'd like, oh, so-and-so's an asshole. You know, I ain't never talking to that person again. And my grandmother used to say, sometimes you have to hug the people you don't like so that you can see how big to dig the hole in the backyard. Oh! And my grandmother, she wasn't one for idle talk. But when she said something like this, you listened. And you knew she meant business. Yeah, you gotta hug somebody so that you know how big to dig the hole in the backyard. And we're not digging a hole for a swimming pool. I never forget the first time she said that. I thought to myself, holy shit, Grandma thinks like everybody else, but she speaks her mind. Yeah, my grandmother wasn't one to mince words. But when she had something to say, oh, she made her point. And she didn't care who she offended. I think that's why her and Grandpa got along so well. You know, opposites attract. Yeah, she was the one that wasn't afraid to make her point. My grandfather was the one tipping his hat, saying hello to everybody, holding doors, being nice. Yeah, I had an interesting set of grandparents. But I'll tell you what, I love spending time with them. Not so much Grandma, because she was a disciplinarian. Grandpa let me get away with murder. And it would piss her off because she would reprimand me. Like, then Grandpa come put his arm around me, go, oh, she didn't mean it. Come on over here. I got a candy bar. I got a candy bar in my smoke stand here for you. You know, you give me a candy bar, and Grandma'd be in there, and be smoke pouring out of her ears. Like, I can almost imagine the conversation that went on after they took me home. Oh, hot tongue and cold shoulder. I'll guarantee that. But yeah, I love spending time with them. I looked forward to 8 o'clock Saturday, and then it changed to 7 o'clock Saturday morning. Yeah, I think I turned like 8 years old. And he would pick me up at 8 o'clock. And when I turned, like, I think it was 8 years old, he says to me, next Saturday, be ready at 7. Didn't bother me, got me out of the house an hour earlier. And then we would go from the house right to the West Side Market. And then we would come home and Grandma'd throw a shit fit. Because she knew exactly what was in them bags we were walking in the kitchen with. And it was the same every Saturday. Oh, she'd throw a fit. And Grandpa would just grin. But I could imagine after they dropped me off. Oh, I felt sorry for Grandpa on the way home. Because I guarantee she started on him as soon as he turned the key in the ignition and kept on him until they went to bed. The only saving grace for Grandpa would have been if the Indians would have been playing a night game on Sunday. That way, she'd be glued to the radio. As a matter of fact, she didn't like the TV announcer. So what she would do, she would have the TV on and the volume off, and the radio with the volume up. She would listen to the radio announcer call the play and watch it on TV. I don't know what it was. She just did not like the TV announcer for the Indians, but she really loved the radio announcer. I think it was up to her. He would have been doing both jobs. He'd have been doing radio and TV at the same time. And God forbid you would breathe loud if she was listening to the ball game. Although she had a special curtain. Because I remember one day, my grandfather was putting in a hook. He had two hooks above the door. And I said, "What are those for?" He says, "You'll find out soon enough." And we went out to do something in the garage. And when we came back in, there was a curtain hanging between the kitchen and the living room. And I says, "What's with the curtain?" And Grandpa was like, "Shh. That's Grandma's hint that she's listening to the ball game. We're not allowed in the living room." And we weren't. Even during a commercial, if he had to get something off, like get his pipe or his pipe tobacco, he'd stick his head through and Graham said, "Hey, ball game's on." So before the ball game, Grandpa always made sure there was a pipe on the kitchen table, his pipe tobacco, an ashtray, everything he needed. God forbid he'd forget something in that living room while the ball game was on. And then I'll remember one time he needed to get something out of the bedroom. And it was getting later and later. I think it was a blanket for me. It was getting later and later and later. And what happened was the goddamn ball game went extra innings. I think it went like 14 innings that night. Screw the blanket. I didn't need it. But yeah, you could. Once that curtain was up, no entree to the living room. I remember I had a little tiny suitcase. And I left the suitcase in the living room. And I needed my pajamas. So I stuck my head through the curtain, and Grandma was like, "What?" I said, "I need my pajamas." She said, "Sleep in your clothes." I did. Yeah. Oh, Grandma in the ball game. She didn't like any other sport. Football, bleh. Basketball, bleh. Baseball. You couldn't breathe loud around her when the game was on. And then it would really piss her off. She'd get all set to listen to a ball game, and it would get rained out. Oh, God, we paid the price. She'd be pissed off. Goddamn rain. Well, sometimes it rains. Unfortunately, sometimes it rains during a ball game. Heaven forbid. Oh, Pops. Oh, no. Oh, no. One of Grumpy's earrings just fell in his cup of coffee. Oh, my God. I didn't realize it was that close to I'll just drink the coffee and get to the earring when I get to the bottom. Yeah. The earring fell right in the cup. How did I put that? Damn it. I have to remember it's in there. That was like years ago. Cans had Pop Tops. They would peel off. Now you pop the top and it goes in the can. But years ago, when you pop the top, you would pull the tab off. Well, I had an idiot friend that would pull the tab off and drop it in the can while it was full. He'd be drinking away. Then one day, he took that drink and swallowed and got that goddamn Pop Top stuck in his throat. Oh, man, we were doing the Heimlich, which we didn't know how to do, so we were just beating the fuck out of his chest. Finally, he coughed the damn thing up. We didn't let him live that down and forever. As a matter of fact, if we run into him, which I do every now and then, I'll always remind him. I'll say, hey, drink any Pop Tops lately? And he's like, Grumpy, go screw yourself. But yeah, he popped the top off and threw it in the can. It was the last time he ever did that. Oh, he choked on that goddamn thing. And we had heard of the Heimlich. We didn't know what the hell it was. All we knew was, you beat on, you got behind him and you beat on his chest or you pulled on his chest. So one of us was behind him, squeezing his chest, and then a couple other of us, we were punching him in the stomach. He was all battered and bruised, but at least he coughed up the Pop Top. Only did that once. Yeah. Gargle it. Old Pop Tops. As a matter of fact, back in the day, people would make chains out of them. Yeah, because they were aluminum, so they would just fold them over and make a big long chain of Pop Tops. Like, look, I drank 746,000 cans of pop. You can see the chain going around my room 12 times. And then so many people choked on Pop Tops, they finally changed the design like it is today. Those were the fun times. I want to think. I know it's not an American manufacturer, but I think there is one pop company. It's got to be a foreign company that still makes the old style peel off pop tabs. I'll have to research it. I could have swore I saw a can not too long ago with a peel off tab. I thought they were outlawed. I know I think that the American manufacturers, yeah, they were peel off tabs. And I know my buddy wasn't the only idiot that would drop it in a can. That's almost as bad as I had a friend. He would carry around an empty pop can. And he would use it for an ashtray. He'd be dropping his ashes in it. When he got done with a cigarette, he'd drop it. Well, one day, we decided to screw with him. And we switched the cans, because he had a can of pop that he was drinking. So we switched the cans around. So he was smoking a cigarette and dropping his ashes in his pop. Smoking the cigarette, drop his ashes in the pop. He got done with the cigarette, and he dropped the cigarette butt in the can of pop. Well, while he wasn't looking, we switched the cans back around again. He grabbed the can that he had thrown the cigarette ashes and the cigarette butt in, and he took a drink. And he got that cigarette butt in his mouth, and he was like, "Blah, what the hell did..." Oh, did we laugh our asses off. Needless to say, he got each one of us back slowly over the years. That's like, I'll never forget. He bought a Volkswagen Beetle. And we really were on his ass about buying a little foreign car. And he said, "You know what? You go ahead, drive your big V8s. Wait until you see the mileage I'm going to get with this Volkswagen." That gave us an idea because we were a weird bunch of guys. So, every other night, we would sneak into his garage and pour a gallon of gas into the gas tank. Oh, he was raving about the mileage. Oh my God, this Volkswagen gets 70 miles to the gallon. We did that for 2 months straight. Then, for 2 months straight, every other night, we would siphon a gallon out of the gas tank. It drove him crazy. He had that car back to the dealer about a dozen times going, "Look at, I was getting 70 miles to the gallon. Now I'm getting 8. Something wrong with this goddamn car." And the mechanics had drove him crazy because there was nothing wrong with the car. It was brand new. It was just his goofy-ass friends fucking with him. We never told him. Oh, he would have killed us all. But, oh, my God, when he started bitching about the mileage, he's like, "Oh, this goddamn car, for 2 months I was getting 70 miles to the gallon. Now it's dropped to 8, you know." But, yeah, we were a group you didn't screw with because we all had weird senses of humor. But to this day, he has no idea. Of course, now it'll be my luck. He'll come across my goddamn YouTube stream and go, "Oh, I'm going to kill those guys." And we're all still around. So we all got to watch our asses now. I'm going to have to call everybody and say, "Oh, I let the secret out of the bag after 60 years. But yeah, every other night, we put a gallon in the tank for 2 months. Then, we siphoned a gallon out of the tank. The mileage went from 70 to 8. And I felt sorry for that poor Volkswagen dealer. Oh my God. He'd be driving, keeping track of the miles daily, you know. I went 32.8 miles today, you know. And then he'd calculate the mileage. He'd be like, "Look." And they put new spark plugs, new plugs, wires, distributor cap. I don't know how many carburetors they had on that car. We didn't have the nerve to tell him what we did. But oh, did we enjoy hearing the stories of him taking that to the dealer and complaining about mileage. That'll teach him not to lock his garage. He left the door open on top of it. Of course, we were a real trusting society back then. People didn't lock shit up. Hell, I can remember we'd go for a Sunday drive. That was a big thing back in the day. Take a Sunday drive. Oh, we gonna go for our Sunday drive? Drive out in the country, maybe get an ice cream cone. My parents never locked the house. Matter of fact, we didn't even have a key for the house. Our house had one of them fucking skeleton key locks. We didn't lock the doors. We didn't shut windows. My father used to leave the fucking keys in his car. Hey, take them out of the ignition, throw them on the floorboard. Not today, Jesus Christ. You not only have triple locking windows, you got burglar bars and 5 different alarm systems. It's sad what it's turned into. Yeah, nobody locked their house. I don't remember one neighbor that locked the door back in the day. Of course, everybody knew each other, and everybody watched out for each other's property. If we were going on a Sunday drive, there were at least 5 neighbors that knew that we had left. And they'd be on their vigil, sitting on their front porch, watering their lawn or something. Not today. Like you see, today you don't even know who lives around you. God forbid there's some kind of fucking emergency. You'd go 2 houses down, knock on the door, need some help, and they go, who the hell are you? Of course, everybody knows who I am. They wouldn't open their door in the daylight for me, let alone... But it's sad. If you had some kind of emergency, nobody knows who. You'd be knocking on the door. They'd be looking out going, oh, there's some strange asshole beating on our door. Then they'd call police and say you were breaking in. You'd be arrested at gunpoint, and you only needed some help, Sad what it's come into. And, of course, it's expensive today, but back in the day, each neighbor would compete against the next one to who could plant the most flowers and, always have the most beautiful yard in the neighborhood. Shit, not today. Houses don't have flowers, shrubs, nothing. You drive up and down the street and it looks like a slum. Like I said last night, the boomer generation, we have seen the most changes basically in history during our lifespan. Because we've seen it go from what it was like back in Andy Amirberry days to what it's like today. And it's sad. It's really sad what it's turned into. I have attempted to get friendly with people. Of course, they look at me and they go, sorry, we don't care what your name is or who you are, stay in your own property. But people don't want to know who their neighbors are. It's like, hey, I'm building a wall around myself. Stay away from me. Like there's this invisible barrier around their property. I knew every neighbor for 2 blocks. And most of them, I knew their phone numbers. Of course, that was back in the day when you memorized the phone number. Not like today. God forbid, you lose your cell phone, you lose your life. Not everybody's like Grumpy. I make a copy of all the phone numbers. I don't memorize them, but I have a little book with all my important numbers in it. And not just doctors and so on, friends, relatives, people that I talk to on a regular basis. But back in the day, you knew everybody. There used to be a thing when people moved into a neighborhood called the welcome wagon. It was part of a neighborhood organization. And someone would move into the neighborhood and they would bring, a welcome basket, and you'd get coupons for dry cleaning and groceries and lawn care and all kinds of shit like that. It was an agency that was funded. I don't know if it was funded by the city or how it was. Every ward had one back in the day, a welcome wagon. And it made you feel welcome. Not today. People move in. If you're not observant, about 6 months later, you're like, gee, I don't recognize them people down the street. Where the hell did they come from? Then one of your other neighbors would say, well, they've been there for 6-7 months now. Really? When did they move in? They must have moved in the middle of the night. I didn't see them. But I mean, that's almost the way it is. People would move in. They would walk around the neighborhood and say, hey, I'm, Fred Smith. I moved in down in, old Charlie Jones's house. Then you would know. Not today. People move in. It's like, stay the fuck away from me. I'm invisible. It's sad. It's really sad. And I'll admit, I'm not outgoing like I was. But if somebody needs something and it's within my means, I'll help them. Nothing like it was growing up. Or even, when I was in my 20s or 30s. I don't know, it seemed like all of a sudden everything, now I know it didn't change overnight. And I guess as it changed for the worse, I just didn't pay attention. And then I stop and sit and think. And I'm like, God damn. But you see it mainly when you're out and about. Like up in the grocery store. Back in the day, people would unload their groceries and take the cart back and put the cart back where it belonged. Not today. They leave them in the middle of the fucking parking lot, And what really aggravates me is these asshole people that'll push their carts into a handicap space. That's not a parking space for a goddamn shopping cart. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I went up to the plaza. Here's 5 shopping carts in a handicap spot. Now, luckily, like I said, I have a handicap permit. I don't use it most of the time. Because somebody else may need that space. If I'm feeling all right that day, hey, I'll park at the end of the aisle. I don't care. And then there's times that I'm not 100%, and I'll use that handicap spot. But it's not a place to park your goddamn shopping carts. Poor handicapped person has to move a bunch of carts in order to park. Talk about inconsiderate assholes. Oh, my blood pressure's cranking just thinking about it. But it don't do any good talking about it. It's never going to go back that way. Things are never going to go back to the way they were. But unfortunately, it seems like they're getting worse. In a way, I feel sorry for this generation that's growing up today. Of course, they'll look back and it'll probably be worse, and they'll go, gee, it wasn't like that when I was growing up. But it seems like every generation, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not the way I was brought up. And I tried to instill that in my son. But see, evidently, parents they didn't care. Oh, grow up whatever way you want, A lot of these kids today that are in their 20s and 30s grew up in the generation of don't bother me, or they were a latchkey kid. Both parents worked. Then when their parents got home, it was like, don't bother me. I just got home from work. Go outside. Go disappear for a week, And then they pass that along to their kids. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Then they wonder why I'm a crab ass. Gets pretty goddamn bad. I gotta move 14 shopping carts in order to get in the store. Then I gotta move 36 to get out of the store. Then my doctor wonders why I got high blood pressure. He should follow me around for a week. But it don't do any good talking about it. It's not going to change. All I'm doing is basically bitching and moaning. It's going in one ear and out the other because it's not going to change. And like my friend says to me all the time, why are you getting so worked up about it? It's the way it is today. Yeah, unfortunately, that's right. Why get worked up over something one person is not going to change things? And me bitching and moaning ain't going to change a damn thing, except crank my blood pressure and give me an ulcer. But I got to air my gripes somewhere, and unfortunately, you people are the ones that have to listen. Half of you probably turned me off already when had enough of him already. Maybe we'll have a little lighter subject tomorrow. And maybe not. I don't know. I still need suggestions for the New Year's Eve extravaganza. The first annual Two Grumpies New Year's Eve show. Gotta come up with something. You don't want to watch me for a fucking hour. Hopefully, they'll be streaming Times Square. And we can do cutaways. Watch Times Square for a while. Then watch a little grumpy. And then watch Times Square for a while. And then watch a little grumpy. Or watch Times Square a lot and a little bit of grumpy. I'm praying they got Times Square going to be on YouTube. If not, I'm screwed. Although I could hook the TV up and run a regular broadcast channel, but then I think YouTube might be against that. I would rather run something that's already streaming on YouTube. And I've been trying to figure out what size monitor to bring in. I've got a 24 and I got a 35. I don't think the 35 would look good hanging behind me. Or maybe just a 13. I don't know. I'm working on which one I'm going to set up. But I've got everything set. I got the one small form factor computer. Get it tied into the Wi-Fi. Everything be so. And then I keep asking the CEO, where is my station going to be? Where's the one he keeps saying, oh, this one is you. He won't tell me. I'm getting a little worried. All he keeps saying is, don't worry. The studio that we got, it's you. Be my luck, he's got a big 8 by 10 foot blow up of me for a background. That'll be scary. Okay, time for some outro music. Grumpy has to go make another queechy. Yeah. I got pepperoni and mozzarella cheese and some provolone. Yeah, I'm going to make a pizza quiche. Yeah, I found a recipe for a pizza quiche. So we're going to see how that turns out. And yeah, time for me to preheat the oven and get the pizza quiche running. So I better do a sign off. No. I don't know why it keeps doing that every night. This is what we want. Tablet's got a mind of its own. And with that, friends, Grumpy and the Vulture will meet you again tomorrow night. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. See ya.